Karen, and I wanted to talk about dust mites today, dust mite allergies for dogs and what you can do. I have got several videos on this with the same makeup and same top because I'm talking about it this morning, simply because I was doing a video about the shampoo that I use for my Watson's fungal allergy. So he has an allergy to yeast as well as the dust mites. So I've done a video talking about that shampoo, and there are options there for people that have not been had a diagnosis confirmed. There's things that you can try, so have a look at that video. I'll link it in here for you if that's could be another option if you don't yet know what the allergies are, because some of us are in a position where we're like, okay, we've had the confirmation, I am now, we've had the skin test, we know that he's allergic to dust mites and yeast, and we can then deal with that. But even before you have that confirmation, because it's taken us over a year to get that confirmation and diagnosis, for that year you can still be doing things that deal with dust mites in case it is that, and that deal with yeast in case it is that. We also did, I should say, an exclusion diet to see if it was a food allergy, and our Watson doesn't have a food allergy, but he does have food sensitivities. We did a whole exclusion diet where he had nothing but pork and potato for 6 weeks. So we made him pork steaks. We fried these pork loin steaks and then blended them with potatoes, and you have to make sure you use potatoes without their skins on, and then we chopped up pork as his treats and we used that for everything. So he must have been sick of pork by the end of it, and that showed us he didn't have a food allergy, but he does have food sensitivities, because as we added things back in, we found he doesn't like chicken, you know, that upsets his tummy, etc. Anyway, dust allergies. I have learned so many things about dust allergies that I think will hopefully be useful for you. The first thing is that dust covers for your bed are not as expensive as you might think, and John Lewis is where I got mine, so I wanted to let people know about that, because I think you can get them from Argos and you can get them from other places, but actually when I looked, hopefully it's still the same now, John Lewis were the cheapest place to buy them. I think it was something like £7 per pillowcase cover, and maybe £12 for the mattress cover and £12 for the duvet cover, something like that. I remember the total was between £30 and £50 to cover 6 pillows, because there's a couple of pillows we use for him, the duvet and the mattress. The biggest place that dust mites live is in the bedroom, which is why at first our vet recommended that he doesn't stay in the bedroom. Watson doesn't stay in the bedroom because we have carpets as well, unfortunately. We had this house before, we knew we were getting a dog, and it would cost an arm and a leg to replace them with wooden floors, and that's not the kind of money we can spend at the moment. So we need to just deal with what we've got. We can't really move him out of the bedroom because the only way we can do that is by shutting the door, and it's just not something we want to do at the moment. So we thought we'd wait and see, and that will be a last resort for us. But the most important thing is that you cover your mattress with a mattress cover. And like I said, you can get these from John Lewis. That's number one thing that you can do. If you hoover, which is really important obviously, then it's best if you can do it when the dog is not going to be there for 2 hours afterwards. That's really difficult, I know. That's really only going to apply if you've got a dog in daycare or that goes with a walker. My dog has a bit of a mix of both, but we're about to change that all. So what I do is the minute that the walker takes him, I hoover, and then there's 2 hours. The reason is it sort of disturbs the dust mites and they're all in the air. Something else that you can do is use a steamer. The one, I can't remember the name of the one I bought, I'll try and link it for you below, and it's pretty good, but it's quite a job, and it's not a job where you feel any satisfaction. I also use a Vax carpet cleaner to clean my carpet, and so something to know is that if you use water on a carpet, just normal water, it will wash away the dust mites, but not the eggs. If you use a steamer, a hot steamer, if you use 60 degrees or above, will kill the eggs as well, and so kind of rid you of the dust mites. And so what I do is I use the Vax cleaner now and then just for the cleaning the carpet, because, you know, obviously he's lying on the carpet, he's dirty, and then about once a month I get the steamer out and steam the whole house, and you can steam the curtains, you can steam unfortunately we have a fabric sofa as well, and you can just steam everything. And I would say it probably takes me about between an hour and 2 hours to do the whole house. And so that's pretty good. Their beds, the dog beds, make sure when you buy dog beds that they are ones you can wash, because that's a big problem if you can't wash them. So we've been through a couple of beds actually where we've bought them, they've said they're washable, but they're not. We bought one that was a waterproof one, but that doesn't mean it won't get dust mites and that the dust mites won't come through, and we washed it and it just split, so that one wasn't very good. So we've ended up with some beds that we can just put in a washing machine, and we've got quite a big washing machine now. We've had to change the washing machine. Thankfully, but our other one broke, so we bought a bigger capacity washing machine so I can wash the beds. But again, If you want to completely get rid of the dust mites and eggs so that the dust mites don't come back as quickly, you need to be washing it at 60 degrees or above, and a lot of beds will say 40 degrees. What I do is I start on 40 degrees, make sure it washes okay, put it on 50, make sure it washes okay, put it on 60. Most of my dog beds have been absolutely fine on 60 degrees. Dust mite allergy, then one of the things that you are supposed to avoid is stuffed toys for your dog. That's a big issue for us, simply because Watson he's not toy motivated, and the toys that he loves are stuffed toys and he loves to destroy them. We're hoping that he grows out of that, because we're not stopping him destroying the toys at the moment, simply because he's not toy motivated, he's other dog motivated, and we have a whole host of other issues with him, which is he's high energy. I don't know what to do with him half the time. He's constantly awake, he doesn't sleep very much, he gets 4 walks a day and he's still not tired, you know, that kind of thing. And so on the occasion that he plays with a toy, which has now become a routine after his walk, it is a stuffed toy. He likes a little game of tug, and then he sits and destroys it, and there is in no way any aggression in him or anything like that. So we're fine with it at the moment. And we have what we call his love teddy, which is a huge teddy, which obviously likes to hump now and then, even though he's been fixed. We've made sure that he knows he can't destroy that, and he doesn't now. He knows he can't. He kind of grumbles a bit, but he knows he can't. So we know that it's not an issue, is what I'm saying. And also, I could say to him at any point, and I do this occasionally so that it reinforces it, I'll say to him, leave it, and he just drops it and I can take it away. But my point with that is they're not supposed to have soft toys, because of course soft toys attract dust. So what I do with that is I use the steamer, and I just put the steamer on top of his toy box when I'm using it. And it's not ideal, but it is at least some way of killing them. And then I do one other thing that I'm about to tell you about. I have found, this is a very recent find, and I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't find out about it before. It is a huge spray, I should have kept the bottle to show you, called Indorex. Indorex is actually for fleas. I have never used anything in the house for fleas, because we give Watson his flea and worm. He has the thing on the back of his neck once a month. And so I've never even thought about doing anything in the home for fleas. Didn't seem to be any need to do that. But I watched a webinar type thing on immunotherapy, because he's on immunotherapy and he's having some reactions that I wanted to find out, are they normal? So I watched this webinar, and it was giving figures of dust mites and the allergies, and the people that the dogs that did the best on immunotherapy and the dogs that did the best with their dust mite allergies. And it was saying that the owners that washed the beds at least once a month had the best outcome. So they were the dogs that improved the most. And the number 2, there was 2 things: dog beds washed once a month, and number 2, using an Indorex spray. And that he said Indorex is for dust mites. So I went and looked. You can buy it on Amazon, so I ordered a bottle. It doesn't say on Amazon anything about dust mites, but I got the bottle. It's a huge bottle like this. You read the back of it, and it actually says in small print, after everything else, this also works on dust mites. And so, like I said, I was just kind of bemused and wondered why I hadn't heard that before. Since then, one of my viewers on my other channel actually mentioned that as well, and I thought, yeah, I wish that was wider knowledge. So hopefully by doing this video I can reach some other people and you can maybe try that. So I just, one day when he was at daycare, opened all the windows and sprayed all the carpet. I did 2 rooms with a pretty heavy layer, and then there wasn't much left, but I just about managed to get the 2 other rooms. So we've got 4 rooms that are carpeted, 2 small rooms and 2 large rooms. The bedroom and the living room were where I focused it on, because that's where he spends most of his time. It's very difficult for me to say whether it's worked or not, because he's having this immunotherapy which does cause him to itch. Although he has got better in this last week, and we're not sure why, because we're not even giving him his Apoquel anymore. But I don't know whether it works or not, but I think that it's worth trying all of these things. And if you're anything like me, before I had his diagnosis, I wanted to try everything possible. I did actually buy a dust mite spray, but it was so toxic, and Kev actually, the top wasn't sitting on properly. Kev went to tighten it, and his hands were burning. Didn't have any marks left or anything, but he said, we're not using that on the carpets where Watson's sleeping, you know, because it was just too toxic. So I was delighted to find out about this Indorex. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I do? I open the windows regularly, which I didn't used to do, but I think most people do that anyway, don't they? It's just not something I was bothered about, because I was always worried that spiders were going to get in. I think that's everything to tell you about dust mite allergies. That's everything that I can think of off the top of my head that you can do, and I do think it's worth trying all of these things to see if that is what's causing the allergy. As always, if you've got anything extra to add, if you've got any extra ideas, anything else that you do, then please let me know in the comments below. We are certainly intending at some point to replace the sofa with a leather sofa and to replace the floors with wooden floors, but it's not going to happen quickly. So happy to hear any other advices, and if you've got any questions, of course, put them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and best of luck with your doggy problems, and I'll speak to you again soon.